everyone. We are here in our Odie studio in North Florida, and I'd like to introduce you all to my son, Rocco Tinghitella, future CEO of Odie's Oil. And Rocco's an interesting young man, homeschooled, very intelligent, and I came up with the idea last night. Hey, Rocco, why don't you ask me some pointed questions, and let's do an interview. And don't let me know what the questions are. Now, we did cheat one time. I know what the first question is. And he's going to ask that one. I don't know any of the other questions. So, Rocco, let's go ahead.
All right. Well, the first question I have written down here, see, I got a notepad with them on them, is what was your biggest inspiration or inspirations for developing the Odie's finishing system?
So I knew that. That was the question.
That was the question I asked earlier.
That you asked earlier, and that's the only one I know. And that's a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it when you asked me, but I know what the answer is. So it's because it's easy. My original inspiration was when I was a young man. I was maybe 11 years old, young boy. My brother and I were finishing a Satillo tile floor in South Florida, where we grew up. We grew up in South Florida, Coral Springs, Broward County area, and we were inside this house, and the fumes were so strong that I had to go outside and take a break. And when I got outside, everything started spinning. I got really, really dizzy. I actually vomited. I mean, I was that sick. And I turned around, and after I got my bearings in order, I turned around and went back to get my brother to tell him, hey, this stuff is making us sick. And when I went to the door, it was all sliding glass doors. I saw my brother trying to find his way out of the house, and he couldn't find his way out. He was that wasted from the fumes. And I got him out this way. He came outside, and same thing, sick as a dog. And we got our breath back, and we went home. And I actually took the label from the can with me, and went to the library. And back then we had card catalog and microfiche, and I did the card catalog and the microfiche. I was just a kid, probably in the 1970s, and found out what I was exposed to. And we were exposed to xylene, toluene, benzene. And I looked up what those things do to you, and they are essential. They mess with your central nervous system. You can really get in trouble because if you don't get proper ventilation, you could get very sick, pass out. You can potentially die, suffocate in there. The other issue with those finishes were they cause a disease called AML leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia. And it was something I've been petrified from that day on till even up to today. And later in life, God pushed me in the direction of being a woodworker and running wood shops. And I never wanted to be around that stuff. And even when I was a young man, I started experimenting with finishes. So I started experimenting with finishes like the Odie's Oil, which we use today. Different iteration, or earlier iteration of it. Nothing can't compare to what I do today, but it actually worked. And every time I picked up a piece of wood or went to finish anything or did any projects for the family or my mom and dad, I always used oil finishes that I blended myself. And fast forward today, that's what we use. So that was my main inspiration. Everybody that works for me, including you and Bruce and any of the other people that work for me, know that I don't allow toxic chemicals in my facility because I don't want anybody exposed to the poison, and I don't want to be exposed to the poison myself. Ironically, my father in 2005 died from the very disease that I was petrified of. Your grandfather, who you don't remember him. You were only 3 months old when he died. He died from that disease called acute myeloid leukemia, which is caused from solvent exposure, benzene exposure, and a nasty disease, a horrible death. And when you get it, it's basically the kiss of death. So that was my inspiration to take it even further. When my dad got sick, I knew exactly what he was sick from. It was the very same disease I was petrified of my whole life. And my dad, I think, passed away when I was in my 30s. in my late 30s. And at that point, I developed what we use today. And it basically, at that point, it became, I even tuned it up even more, where it's almost exactly what we're using today as the regular Odie's oil. So that's my inspiration for making the finishes. And then my inspiration for starting the company, you didn't ask that question, but I'm gonna answer it anyway, was to share with the world there is a better way, and there's a way to do this without being poisoned. And knowing what I know about the irresponsibleness of the big chemical companies, it's kind of sad, man. It's a mission of mine. I have to do this. Like you said to me last night, and this is what's inspired me to do this, and have you ask these questions. You're correct, Rocco. We are at war. This is a war against the evil paradigm with the big chemical companies that put out with their catalyzed finishes, their solvent-based finishes, their poison, toxic finishes that actually are weak, don't even work. The only thing that works about them is their propaganda, their marketing, and their brainwashing of the general public. And I kind of made a vow, even after my dad died, I was like, I got to put this stuff out there. I got to get this information out there. How many other people are suffering, and how many people have lost their loved ones, and how many people got sick from the poisons that these big chemical companies put out, and the finishes they make are junk. Our product will blow away every single one of them. Like I said, these floors in here, these concrete floors are finished with Odie's, as you know. So that's why I do what I do, and that's why we are here today.
So the second question has also, I guess, more to do with inspiration, but maybe in a different way. I wanted to know, you obviously went to Savannah College of Art and Design for photography, and I wanted to know, what did photography teach you, and how did it influence you in regards to woodworking, and especially in how it applies to finishing as well?
Oh, excellent question.
I'm also curious, just how did you get into woodworking from being a photographer? That's also very interesting.
Well, I was a woodworker before I was a photographer. So I learned woodworking before I learned photography. I learned woodworking when I was just a kid, same age, about 11, 12 years old. We had a materials processing class in middle school, Ramblewood Middle School in Coral Springs, Florida, when I was just a boy, and I had a teacher named Mr. Calfo. And the material processing class, I learned how to tune up the planer. Literally, I learned how to set the knives on an old 36-inch Rockwell planer. Learned how to set the arbor on the table saw and get it just right. Learned how to use the radial arm saw. I was kind of like the technical geek when I was a kid. I remember using the one-way gauge, was a little one-way gauge and little dial calipers and everything to set the knives on the machines. And I was actually the only guy that was allowed to set the knives on that machine. And the table saw, because I was really good at it and I really loved doing it. So that's where I learned woodworking. That's where the basics come from. Most people don't realize, the key to woodworking is to get one truly jointed surface. And then that flat, perfect jointed surface, all your other surfaces can be projected off of those. So you get your one flat surface, now your next surface can be perpendicular to that one. And you get your parallel to that one, next flat surface. So jointing a board is the most important thing that you need to do. And being able to set your tools up the proper way is really the most important thing you need to do. And most woodworkers overlook that. The sad truth of today, everybody wants to jump in and do fancy joinery and all this fancy stuff. And there's a lot of skilled people out there, but a lot of people aren't that great at the basics, and you really need to learn the basics. So I started when I was just a kid. Now, how did I jump back from photography to photography from that? Well, life gets in the way, and I started learning photography when I was a kid. I was really interested in that, and actually have a strong interest in photography. It's one of my first passions in life, even more than woodworking originally. I went off to school at Savannah College of Art and Design, learned fine arts and photography. And interesting thing about it is photography and woodworking are very similar the way your thought processes work. You got to be able to think forward and backward. You need to be able to pre-visualize, basically plan out and pre-see or pre-visualize. It's not even a real word. Actually, Ansel Adams coined the phrase or coined the word. Maybe it's a real word now. Ansel Adams was around, many years ago, famous photographer. Pre-visualize what you want it to be, whether it's your scene when you're taking a photograph, or if you're looking at a woodworking project or a piece of wood, you want to pre-visualize what that piece of wood's, what you want it to be like. So you got to forward think, and then you got to be able to reduce it all the way back to all the steps. The first step you have to take to go through all the steps to bring it to the final piece again. Mm-hmm. So it's a very similar thought process. And the other thing is most people understand. It's kind of funny. I see long-time veteran woodworkers and even floor guys or designers or contractors. Either they forget or they overlook the basic principle that wood itself is photosensitive, just like a piece of film is. Film is photosensitive. Film changes color when light is exposed to it. It oxidizes. Well, so is a piece of wood. A piece of wood is photosensitive. So you could actually use that knowledge to your advantage, and if you have any skills in photography and understand about how light falls off of things and how light reflects off of things and how it hits it, and then how a piece of wood is going to change through its life cycle, it will help you understand where to use it, where each species best used, about the different photosensitivities of different species, and then also will help you with your finishing. And one of the other things we do in photography is some people like grainy photographs. Some people don't like such grainy photographs. Wood has grain. There's grainy woods and then non-grainy woods. So they both kind of work with each other and balance out. So both art forms are worlds apart, but also very similar. Mm-hmm. So when I got out of college, I did fashion work for a long time. I used to photograph the models, and I worked in South Beach and worked in Atlanta and had my own studio, and I used to love what I did, but I had a really bad injury, and that was right around the time when photography went digital. I was a film guy, so when photography went digital, I had broken my knee in half and didn't walk for 2.5 years. Couldn't hold a camera. I had a 15-pound weightlifting restriction after 5 years. So during that period of time, I wasn't even able to hold the camera. I wasn't able to do any photography. And when I got better, when I got to the point where I was able to carry weight and carry my gear and stand and do the photographs and kneel down and all that stuff, photography went digital. And Photoshop and computer, and I didn't have those skills. Mm-hmm. And I had to make a living. So I fell back on my woodworking. And I dove deep into that. And became quite successful. I used to build big giant gates and shutters and doors all along the South Florida landscape on $30 million homes and $15 million homes. I worked for some of the elite architects and a lot of celebrities. And then I got so popular making the shutters and gates and doors that I did that I needed a really good source for mahogany. I made a lot of things out of genuine mahogany. And make a long story short, I wound up setting up a concession for genuine mahogany in South America. And then even make it even shorter, wound up doing the first sustainable forestry plan for genuine mahogany that was certified under the CITES Treaty of 2003. So I have an extensive knowledge in the exotic woods business and lumber importing and lumber distribution. And I've set up about 7 factories now of my own to manufacture wood products, large production facilities. Started all this grassroots from the bottom, literally from my little 600 square foot apartment at my little wooden desk that I refinished that my grandfather gave me that was in his garage. And here we are today. Fast forward, I was well known for my finishes on all my pieces, and And I was asked to make it for the public, and here we are today.
Okay. Why is it that Odie's oil has no sanding restrictions, whereas so many other products seem to? Why is that the case?
So Odie's is totally different than just about any finish out there on the market. Most of your conventional finishes or your mainstream finishes, or the finishes you find in the hardware stores and or most woodworking supply houses, are literally a film forming polyurethane or uralkyd type of finish. They contain hardeners, catalysts. They are film forming in the sense where they lay on the surface, and they basically make, in lack of a better way of describing it and put it in layman's terms, they'll make a plastic film on top of the surface. Okay? And a lot of people try to say, oh, that's durable. Well, it's really not. There's a lot of issues with that. Well, those finishes have what's called a mechanical bond to the surface that they're applied to. And they have to be bonding to a scratch pattern. They need something to grip into. Okay? And when you make a catalyzed finish or a finish that has a hardener in it, what way it works is in chemistry we have something that's called the molecular bond and cross-linking. Well, their oils that they're made from, and just about every finish on the planet is made from some sort of oil. Whether it's a petroleum-based oil or a plant-based oil, it's made from an oil. So when people actually come out and say that oils are weak and oils are not effective, they're weak, they don't know what they're talking about. They have no clue. They don't even understand the basic chemistry of the finishes they use. Because the strength behind the finishes that they're using is in oil. But what these chemical companies have done is they'll mix a hardener in with the oil to get it to cure fast and to get it to make a film. And I could get really deep into this, and I'll touch on it right now, but we can maybe have other questions you can ask and we can get deeper into this. The reason they do it is really for the appearance of ease of use, and then also ease for them to manufacture and to make something that appears to be a nice finish or good finish. And they're really inexpensive, very inexpensive to make. Most of the time they'll use the cheapest garbage oil they can find, like soybean oil or safflower oil and in some cases, linseed oil is actually a good finish, but in a lot of cases it's just used because it is a byproduct of making flax and linen fabric in Europe. And it's also they also make marmoleum and things like that. Linseed oil is a decent finish, but most of your other finishes out there are made from really, really weak oils like soybean oil and safflower oil, and then also some petroleum-based oil.
Whatever they can get cheapest.
Whatever they can get cheapest. Byproducts, leftover waste from other industries. And then what do they do with it? What are we going to do with it? Well, we'll coat everything on the planet with it. We'll coat all the floors. We'll coat the walls. We'll coat our buildings. We'll coat our roads. We'll coat everything you can think of, instead of throwing it in the trash or sending it into a waste dump, a toxic waste dump. So the reason why those finishes have to have a scratch pattern to bond to is like I said, because it's just a mechanical bond. The reason Odie's doesn't need a scratch pattern to bond to, and it doesn't need one at all, it is a true molecular bond. Instead of it cross-linking to the catalyst or the hardener or the isocyanate or the heavy metal, Odie's cross-links to the medium you are applying it to. It cross-links to the wood, to the concrete, to the plastic, to the leather. That's why it can be used on so many different surfaces. Tung oil in its own right actually does that, but Odie's is made and modified and enhanced to the state where it's hyper cross-linker beyond belief, where it can bonds to basically everything, and that bond is almost impossible to break.
What is the advantage of a powder pigment system over, of the other pigment systems that exist out there? And what was the thought process behind first adopting it? Because I know you didn't always carry the powder pigments. It's a newer thing. So the granulated pigments or the powdered pigments that we sell on our website, the Mr. Cornwall's Creative Colors, is designed more for the user, ease of use for the user, for flexibility. A lot of people, when they first come across it, they get scared. And
the biggest thing is, the biggest question I have is, well, why can't you premix the colors for us? Well, why? I can premix the colors, but I'm gonna have to charge you more, and then you're gonna have one color, and you're stuck with it. And I have competitors out there that sell their colors for $190 or $250 or $280, whatever it is, for a liter, which is really kind of silly. And the customer's just stuck with that one color. We sell you the oil, we sell you the pigments, and then you can make any color you want with the pigments, and you can mix up as small amount as you want or as large as you want. So you're saving money, but you also have ultimate versatility. And once you spend a little bit of time understanding the pigment system, it's really quite easy. And what's really nice about it is it opens up a whole new door and a whole new world of color for you, and creative expression and versatility. And it just makes you a better finisher and a better artist. And using that system, you'll be able to do things that guys that are using other systems cannot do. Mm-hmm. So you can get any opacity you want with our color system, any color you want, and any sheen. Mm-hmm. So that's the inspiration why I put powdered pigments in a jar separate from the oil. It's the old-fashioned way of doing things, the original way of doing things, and it's down to earth and really, really gives the artist the freedom and liberation to do whatever they desire.
That's good. Should I ask really hard questions next?
Yeah, provocative.
I have a really hard one.
You guys aren't provoking me, man.
This is kind of a 3-in-1. What is the most rewarding aspect of running this business for you? What is the greatest force of adversity you've overcome thus far? And what is who are you coming after next, so to speak?
Who am I coming after?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not coming after anybody,
yeah.
but I'm coming after paradigms. I'm coming after lies. I'm coming after evil and deceit. Yes, that's our goal. And so, what was the first part of that question? Because that was the real buzzer, and it was.
What's the most rewarding aspect of running this business for you? That's the first question.
So the most rewarding aspect of it is watching people grow, and that includes my employees, watching them grow, watching their lives getting better, more enriching, and then watching my customers grow in their craft, and watch them getting better at their art form. That's really rewarding. And on another level is knowing that we're making a difference, and we're changing people's lives, and we're saving people's lives, and we're keeping people from getting sick. Mm-hmm. And, boy, in the trades, in the flooring trades, in the cabinet trades, in the wood finishing trade, oh boy, people are spraying poison. They're exposed to nasty isocyanates, nasty hardeners and catalysts and solvents, to the point where people get horrible skin diseases and skin rashes. People's teeth fall out from the hardeners in some of these finishes. It causes nerve damage. There are so many horrible cancers that people get. It'll even mess with people's eyes. I mean, there's so many different issues attributed to the chemical industry and the finish coatings industry. It's disgusting. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I find rewarding, and it's not even rewarding, it's just knowing that I'm doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm changing people's lives for the better, even if they don't even know about it. Mm-hmm. And at least, when I'm done doing what I'm doing, I'll be satisfied knowing I did the right thing. Mm-hmm. So it's why I do what I do. I guess in some ways that can be a form of selfishness, I guess. But then again, maybe it's a good form of selfishness, I guess, if there is such a thing. I think we're all put on this planet to help each other and to guide each other and protect each other and enrich each other's lives. I don't fully believe in just doing things for money. What's the point? If I was just doing it for money, I'd be long gone and done, because I mean I've made enough where I could retire, but if I retired, it wouldn't be any fun anymore. So And then also I like to pass it on to you and my employees and my gentleman that's sitting right across from me here, and let them all carry the charge. And I actually believe that everybody that works here kind of feels the same way that I do. It's a good thing we're doing. And like you told me last night, it's a war against evil. It's a crusade.
It's a crusade, yeah.
It's a crusade. And you also told, well, you can't say that because people do a crusade. Well, too bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to be taken over by the Turks.
No, okay.
or the big polyurethane chemical companies, or any dominating, devouring system that could potentially be our destruction. Well, no. Mm-hmm. So what I find rewarding is making the big difference. Mm-hmm. And another thing is my own little. I like the challenge. Mm-hmm.
I have another question.
There's another part of that question, though.
Well, actually, I'll ask that.
I want to know my biggest adversity.
Yeah, what's the biggest adversity? But before I even ask that, I want
to answer that.
All right, answer that. Yeah, what's your?
That's an important one to answer.
What's the biggest adversity source of adversity you've overcome?
The stupidity of the paradigm of the film forming finish, the ignorance, how can I don't want to say it that way. The lies, the deceit, the propaganda, the brainwashing that the big chemical corporations have thrust upon the people. And literally the brainwashing and the blindsidedness of the average consumer that believes in those systems. Only to have to sand it off, repeat, sand it off, repeat, sand it off, repeat, and at the same time poisoning themselves every time. And the sad truth is the big companies that put this stuff out, they're all interconnected. And some of the very same companies that own the biggest pharmaceutical companies and are part of the medical industry own the biggest chemical companies in the world that put all this crap out. Mm-hmm. And then there's all these other little systems underneath them that buy from them and push their paradigm, the little marketing companies. So that's the biggest adversity. It's a big, giant, one-eyed monster. And that's why we have the Polyphemus character in our Odysseus story, and that's why we have the little poly monster. So the biggest adversity are the big polyurethane, Polyphemus, mono-thinking, cyclops monster, giant corporations, and all the little polytards that follow them. That's the biggest adversity. So I'm going to be pretty abrupt there, but that's the reality of it. Mm-hmm. But my goal is to transform these people from polytards to intelligent, eye-opened human beings, opening their eyes up, seeing the truth, and realizing that the system that they've been following all these years is a big lie. Mm-hmm. So.
It's good. That also answers the third part, which is what are you doing going forward, basically? Which is, there you go, all right? Like that's perfect.
Yeah, that's my goal, is to shift the paradigm.
Yeah. That's good.
And wake people up. Our finish will blow away any polyurethane on the market, bar none. It's silly. It's quite ludicrous when somebody says, "Oh, The funny thing is, another big adversity is it's the same as the big chemical companies. Even AI has been trained to pump out stupidity. Mm-hmm. And we just read something this morning on one of our own social media posts. The AI system came up to fact check us, whatever you want to call it, community notes, whatever, and it was pushing Minwax, polyurethane. Odie's is this, and this, and it's great, but if you want something durable, Minwax. Well, why would AI do that? Because the system is built by the big giant chemical companies and the big corporations that fund everything. It's all built to push their narrative to keep them in dominance and in power. So that's another huge adversity. The big adversity is the money and the narrative that's pushed behind it, and their propaganda that's been put out there, and literally the brainwashing, constant brainwashing on the public every day, and all the lies. And it's so hard to fight it. How do you fight it? Well, the only way we can fight this is to be there and be bastions for truth, and tell the truth, and expose the lies, and expose the reality behind it all. Mm-hmm.
So I genuinely, I really was wondering, when was it, where were you, and when was it that you first started to realize, because obviously growing up you knew that there was these, bad chemicals in the finishes, but when did you realize these people were all connected? This was all like a big sort of, a big conspiracy, so to speak, that they were all in on it, right? That there was a big cabal coming after people.
Whether they know they're in on it or not, they are in it together. Now, is it a big conspiracy? Maybe. Most likely not amongst all the little marketing companies that are pushing and all the people. A lot of people just genuinely sold on the lie. Now, I do believe I know that there's a few big monsters behind the whole thing, and they're big giant chemical companies. Now, do the individual people that work there know? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe the higher up guys know. The original founders knew. It's quite interesting. Big corporations, big entities kind of take on a mind of their own eventually. Big systems wind up becoming self-gratifying, and that's the sad reality of it. Even government, when government gets too big, it becomes a big self-gratifying organism, and you can't stop it. And it just keeps growing and growing. Maybe the individual people that work there are wonderful, but the big system, the whole system is just kind of winds up morphing into building itself. Now, when did I figure this out? I was an odd duck, kind of like you. Okay, I figured it out at a really young age. But when did I figure out that the chemical coatings industry was a big bunch of companies telling a big lie? I had some clues when I was a kid, when I first got poisoned. But then, I might have strayed away from it. But then when I got deeper into it, and I was making wood floors, I started seeing they're all selling the same crap, all the same stuff. They have a different name, but the formulas are all basically the same. Like in the case of hard wax oil, the common hard wax oils on the market are linseed oil, isocyanate, and naphtha, with some weak waxes. That's what they are. One from Germany, one from Belgium, one from France, one from Italy, one from here, one from there, boom, boom. Big deal. One from the United States. But they're all the same blend. Maybe one has a little more isocyanate, a little less. Maybe one uses a little more solvent, maybe a little less. One might have deodorized mineral spirits. One has full blown. We're all the same. Water-based polyurethane, all the same. All the same. Water, emulsifiers, and some sort of oil, a polyol. And there's oil and then there's a polyol. Now, so they're all made pretty much the same. I started exploring later on, when I started getting attacked. I knew it. I had suspicion, but not real facts. But when I got into the industry, is selling just the finishes direct as Odie's oil, as Odysseus Cornwall's outstanding oils and waxes, I started getting attacked. And it was the same types of companies and the same type of finishes that they were all making the same types of finishes. And they would attack me in unison. And then I started looking at where they were getting their chemicals from and their formulas from. And yes, I could go to Germany and buy and sign up for a hard wax oil blend made by a big giant chemical company and put my own brand on it. A lot of social media influencers actually do it. Oh, I got my own oil now. Oh, I got my own ceramic. I got this. They basically go to the giant chemical company or they get approached by them. And, hey, would you like to sell this stuff? You can put your own name on it. It's just all they're doing is putting a label on the damn thing. So when did I learn? I learned when I got deeper into the industry. Probably around, I would say 2003. And then it got really solidified when I got really hardcore attacked by them in the 2014, 2012 area. So 2012, 2011, 2012. I've actually had some of them even copy my words, because I used to run with some of them. I used to run with one of the biggest chemical manufacturer finish companies in the world, in Europe actually, who brought their products to the United States. They used to use my import license to bring their products in, and I actually hooked them up with some of the biggest distributors in the country and helped them build their brand here, because I liked their glues, but I didn't realize how evil they were and what they would do. We don't need to get into that. Go ahead. Next question.
So another one, speaking of, getting into the industry and everything, we're getting into a new industry with the car detail.
Yes.
And I was wondering, when did you first decide to get into the car detail? What got you into cars?
So the auto detailing is something that kind of came about organically on its own. I've been making finishes since I was a kid, and friends and family would take my oils and use them on all different types of things. And one of the things that people would use them on is their cars, or their boots, or their shoes, or their couch, or their concrete floors, or their slate, or their tile. The list goes on and on and on. And the plastic on their car and all. And over the decades, I learned how well it worked on automobiles, because automobiles have plastic, metal, paint. They have chrome, they have leather inside of them. All of the above. And Odie's works on all those surfaces. So what got me into the cars is I've always had a love for cars since I was a kid. And I started making automotive waxes and giving them to my friends, and they love them. And I've been using them on my vehicles for a very, very long time. And now we're at the point where, like, well, you know what? It works this great. It blows everything away, just like it does on wood. Let's go ahead and build this program, and that's what we're doing right now. And here's two of the vehicles here we have today, a 65 Shelby Cobra and a 2022 Porsche GT3, both finished with Odie's oil. And they're not cheap cars.
They look beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
I helped you with that. Turned out really good.
Yep. And Odie's outperforms any wax out there, any ceramic coating. And that's another thing. That's another big gimmick that's been put out by big chemical ceramic coatings. Poison paradigm, irresponsible, ineffective. Really doesn't work very good. It's just propaganda and brainwashing. One of the objections we get from people is when we say ours is more of a traditional wax, but it really isn't. It's a traditional wax with a twist, a special twist that's unique to Odie's. One of the things we get here is, waxes, I got to wax my car every 6 months. Well, what do you think you have to do with the ceramic? If you read the ceramic's warranty on most of the ceramic coatings, they tell you need to redo it every 6 months, every year, and you have to go to a professional to do it. And the issue with that stuff is it's deadly poison. Ceramic coatings, most of them, the ones that are made from graphene oxide, are really nasty. Now, there are some that are made from boron. I don't know a whole lot about that, but I know boron's not something, nanoparticles is something I want to be messing with. I don't want to be messing with any nanoparticles, especially heavy metal nanoparticles. Now, the issue with the graphene oxide, it slices right into your cell wall. It's 1 atom thick. It's nasty stuff. And it actually doesn't look very good on a car. We can go to a car show, and I can tell you what cars are finished with ceramic coating and which ones have a really good traditional wax. And a good traditional wax, not a liquid squirt-on wax, an actual real good paste wax. And the reason why is because the graphene and ceramic coated cars, even the boron ones, have a haze to them. The graphene ones especially have a grayish, cloudy haze to them. They don't have that brightness and that color fastness and that pop that you get from a really good hard wax. So, Buff Off Detail Wax. So it's a take on our wax. It's a special proprietary blend. Fantastic stuff. And I've got vehicles that have it on it for years now that didn't have to be done. We even have it on our military Humvee that we just take through the forest and beat the snot out of it. And I think Bruce did that last Not this past October, the October before. And that's pretty much my daily driver during the extreme weather months. So,
how do you believe the rise of AI will affect woodworkers? Will the effect be a good one or a bad one? And if bad, how might they circumvent it?
so it's going to be good and bad. But the bad part is this: people need to wake up. The sad truth of the matter is the same people that fall for the lies, the deceit, and the brainwashing of the big chemical companies, and it's not just in the finish industry, it's in the food industry, it's in the school systems, it's in just about everything, pharmaceutical, it's in about cosmetic, it's into everything, any big industry, any large industry or consumer-based product industry, especially food. Food is probably one of the worst. Is most people literally fall into this whole popular culture thing, and human beings are interesting. I mean, we like to be part of a group, but that's one of our weaknesses. It's our strength, the strength of ours, but also a weakness. What I believe, and I know, I mean, it's not I just believe, is individuals make up the group, and is the individual is the most important part of the group. And each individual, rugged individuals, make up strong groups. So it's really easy to control, very easy to control a group or collective or a community of people. Let's say it's easier for you to control a community or a collective of 1,000 people than it is for you to control 10 rugged individuals. You can sway a large collective, a large group, a large herd much easier than you can sway 10 rugged individuals that are free thinking.
It's the pastoralist versus the agrarian in the old civilization.
So the issue with AI is, one of the terms that came about, I've heard, most young people think is, oh, it's been around forever. They've been saying it forever. They haven't. I've been doing crafts and woodworking and art and all that stuff for many decades.
Apologies, sorry.
Okay. Many decades. And the term maker. Oh, the maker community, the collective. You hear the collective. You hear this. You hear the maker community. Well, where's the maker community? How do we get there? Well, bullshit. Okay. The reality is I don't really like the term maker, and I talked about this in some of my other videos, because I feel it's denigrating to the individual. And it's denigrating to the artist. A maker is just a machine. My bread maker, my little mixer maker, whatever thing I have here, this maker, that maker, my CNC router, it's a maker. Okay. The way we're going to avoid the issues with the AI and the collective storm that's coming from the computers is to be rugged individuals. To be creative individuals, to be artists, to be, you're not just a maker, you're an artist, you're an engineer, you're a designer, you're a craftsman, you're a tool maker, that's a maker right there, right? But the reality is you're not just a tool maker, okay? You're a designer, you're engineering that tool, you're making jigs when you're in your shop, you have to come up with whole systems, you have to think creatively. You have to have artistic expression. A maker is just a machine that takes a plan and pumps it out. You put your plan in a CNC router, it pumps it out. In the world of AI and robotics, they're going to be able to feed the plan into the machine, and the machine makes it. Or the collective of robots makes it. That's the difference. That's going to be a problem for people that aren't rugged, artistic individuals. It's going to be a big problem. They're going to get lost. And that's what's going to separate the art form. I think it's a great thing that there's a lot of people doing woodworking today, and America and all around the world, there's a whole movement going back to the craftsman, the individual craftsman and the artist and the artisan. And that's great. And they have these artist communities. I don't like calling them maker communities. They're artist communities. And those artist communities are made up of individuals. They're not just a collective. Okay? Now, if all those individuals get together, you can make a very strong group, very powerful group. The issue with AI is you can go to a little warehouse district or a little district in a mall or whatever it is, and have a bunch of machines make all your stuff for you. I'll go here, it makes my jeans. I go here, it makes my leather jacket. I'll go here, this, boom, 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 boom. Well, maybe that would be their form of artist community, right? But there won't be any real individuals in there. It'll be a bunch of machines. So the issue with that whole thing is people are going to find themselves out of work, out of a job, and it's going to be sad unless you're developed your art form to the maximum. You became a true artist, and that's what Odie's is about. It's not about sheen in a can. It's not about I got my 2-part hard wax oil already pre-mixed color over here in a can. Oh, look, here we go. Same color every time. 18% gray or 5% white or this or that. Same color every time. Same sheen every time. That's for the makers. That's for the guy who doesn't give a crap and he's just pumping it out, wants his check, wants his money. Odie's is for the true artist. So, yeah, my problem with that whole thing, the AI thing, is it's a tool. And it can be a great tool, an amazing tool. And I'm interested in it. But also, most people don't realize it's a tool meant to replace a big faction of the industry, a big faction of the makers.
Or even worse, it's used to socially engineer people.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's
a whole nother subject.
I think that's the primary use of it right now, is less so to automate.
That's a whole other subject, and that's what the whole
engineer.
Social media thing is about. And all this social engineering. It's not just social media; it's social engineering.
Yeah.
And the issue is those collectives and those groups. They can be quite dangerous. And they have their cancel culture, and it's a whole collective of individuals, and they don't even know what the hell they're canceling. You got people, standing up and fighting for something just because the group is doing it. No brain, no mind of their own, no free thinking. And that's what a bunch of robots are. That's what the robots are. They're not free thinking. I don't care how advanced you think the AI is going to get. It's not free thinking. Somebody programmed it, and it works by a set of guidelines. If this, then that. On a computer. That's the basics behind a computer system. Programming. So it's very finite. The difference between a AI and a human being is a human being is infinite. It's natural. It's part of this universe.
It's a reflection of the divine.
That's right.
Right. So when you make art, you're trying to you're trying to show a mirror of the divine element of the human.
You're reflecting the divine.
Is in the art. So like an AI is like the hollow man. It doesn't really.
Yes.
It can automate a task for you.
So don't call yourself a maker because you're calling yourself a hollow man.
Yeah.
Some people will find that offensive, but too bad. They need to wake up.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So yeah, Rocco, that's a good point. And good question. We can go deep into that one. And that's one that really, really actually bothers me sometimes because I see people just following and not thinking for themselves. They get just hung up with the whole collective. The collectivism is dangerous. Very dangerous. It destroys whole societies. Actually, hundreds of millions of people have died in the 20th century because of collectivism.
And the people we're fighting are the
and to name the places: Nazi Germany, communist movements, communist
USSR,
USSR, Pol Pot, and Mao Zedong, Cuba, in the name of collectivism.
Well, those are the very people we're fighting who were the masters of manipulating collectivism to their advantage to exploit people, which is the Nazis in Germany, I suppose. But they were very, very effective, and what was it? If you read some of Serrano's writings, he said that whether you agree with Serrano or not, he said Adolf Hitler was hypnotizing people from afar,
let's do
possessing them.
This is good. Right? It's a good conversation here. Here's the interesting thing, Rocco. Collectivism.
Yeah.
So where did polyurethane come from? It came from Nazi Germany in 1937. A man named Otto Bayer discovered it. Mm-hmm. And who propagated it as the main paradigm, finished paradigm, and who expanded upon it were the Nazis. The very companies that invented it are actually still around today, one of which is gigantic, overarching corporation.
A three-letter
still
agency.
Exists. No, it's a four-letter word.
A four-letter? Oh, yeah, it's 4 letters.
It still exists. And how do they push the propaganda? The thing it's through collectivism.
Through blind collectivism.
Blind collectivism. So it is a dangerous way of brainwashing society and the culture. And most people don't get this. Most people are it's conspiracy theory. No, it's not. This is the truth. This is how systems and ideologies overcome humanity and actually are the ultimate destruction of humanity. This is when systems get too big and too overpowering and literally overcome humanity. And once again, it goes back to what I said earlier. It's much easier to control a herd of sheep,
mm-hmm.
than a few individuals.
That was the beginning of that trend was the pastoralist versus the agrarian in Europe. The agrarian was a more collectivist society, where the pastoralist was a Roman.
So Odie's oil is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
We're the opposite. We're not like anybody else. We're a system of our own. It's unique to me. I developed it. I designed it. It is my system. It's my school of thought. My teaching came from the mind of an 11-year-old. Okay, I absorbed things around me from my dad, from my woodworking teacher, all these different things and books that I read. And then as I got older, went to art school, and I developed this system, and it's unique to me. There's a lot of copies. A lot of people don't want to emulate us and want to copy us, but they're nowhere near us. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny. Sometimes it pisses me off. But other times I get flattered. Okay, glad this guy's trying to copy me because he wants to be us. But the reality is it's unique to us. Mm-hmm. And we are the antithesis of collectivism. We're not. We don't believe in that.